beginning. We might have been on when we said, well, cheers in the beginning. Well, cheers, everyone who's coming on. Cheers, Ian.
Cheers, everyone.
I still have my weekend wind down glass that Allison Solar sent to my house. How cool is that?
That is special.
That is special. I love my weekend wind down. So cheers. Let's take a sip.
Cheers. Mm-hmm.
So for those who are coming on and are new to my broadcast, this is Weekend Wind Down with Business Coach Nancy. I'm actually a business coach to interior designers and also a body language trainer now because I'm an obsessive compulsive learner and I just can't stop taking courses. But it was really exciting. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Sam. It was really exciting to do what I did in the last 2 weeks. I haven't been here, I think, for 2 weeks, right? I think 2 weeks I haven't had Weekend Wind Down. I did Luann Nagara Live, which was a phenomenal event. If you guys didn't go this year, you have to go next year or whenever she puts it off again. It was kind of the rollout of her new book. And the 12 experts, the 12 authors all went up on stage and we were paired with designers. It was such an amazing experience. Everyone learned so much. I was home for 3 days and then I went off to High Point, North Carolina for the High Point markets. And I did a presentation there, networking like a rock star. And that's where the first time I was able to use my body language training to teach people how important it is when you're networking live or even on video, quite frankly. So you'll be seeing me roll out a little bit more about that it helps you with sales and marketing when you actually are in touch with your body language. But I'm excited today to have my guest. He's been on before, Ian Quar. He's also the secretary of the Virtual Interior Design Society chapter, the IDS, which I'm the president of. So welcome, Ian, and tell everyone a better introduction than I just gave you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks for having me again. My name is Ian Quar, and happy to see some familiar faces here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a website designer, especially for interior designers. I do websites and branding, and yeah, happy to come on today and talk about websites with you, Nancy.
So tell them the name of your company. Hi, Christine. Tell them the name of your company and give a little taste of the announcement we're going to make at the end.
Sure. So it's been a long time coming, but I have just rebranded, and it's really exciting for me. I don't know if any of you out there have ever been in the position that I've been. Have you ever felt like your name just didn't feel right? The name of your business just did not feel like the way that you worked, the way that you worked with your clients. My last name was called House Digital, and it's a name that I took on because I really just needed a name for my business. And my sister actually suggested it to me, and I was like, okay, let's run with it, blah, blah, blah. But one of my recent clients really described it really well when she said, I asked her about it, she was like, well, the name House Digital, for me, it sounds a little bit institutional and mechanical. And I was like, you know what? That actually hits it for me. I think that it sounds institutional too. You know, it sounds like an agency, you know, but I'm not an agency. I work with my clients one-on-one in a very personal way, very individualized service. And so the name that came to me was The Art of You. Because that is the work that I do. I showcase my clients' work, and my art is showcasing them, you know, so.
I love that you gave that explanation, because when I first heard it, I went, huh, like we're so used to seeing the word digital in interior and in like website design companies and branding companies that we're used to what we're hearing and what we're seeing. So I was like, oh, I wonder why he changed it. But I actually like that explanation. Not that my opinion matters, but I like that explanation.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the way that I work with my clients is actually really similar to the way that interior designers work with their clients. Design is a very highly personalized, you know, deep dive into who someone is, and it's a really custom, bespoke experience, you know, and because I really work one-on-one with my clients in that way, and we really get to know each other, you know, like I said, the whole big agency name just didn't feel right. And so, Yeah, it's came to me. So
I love that. And Ian asked me before we went live, like, have I ever felt like the name didn't match? And really the closest thing I ever got was to my private Facebook group. I used to call it Actionable Entrepreneurs. And when I named it, I thought, that's perfect. I always know what to post because I'm all about action. And then as I was getting deeper and deeper into coaching just interior designers, I mean, I actually coach more than that, but I was marketing to interior designers. I started thinking this group needs to be called the Interior Design Business Farm because we talk all about business, and that's what I coach people on. And once I changed the name, it made a difference for me psychologically, which I'm sure it's going to for you. And it also just made a difference in who was attracted to the group.
A name can be so important, you know, and it's at the very top of our branding pyramid, you know, and it can really set a tone. You know,
all right, so we're gonna dive into it now. Ian and I have spoken about websites. I can't tell you how many times because I'm really opinionated with this stuff because I'm a business coach and I want to see my clients getting more business from their websites all the time because it's like I've always used this. If you build it, they won't come unless there's a reason for them to be compelled by the site. So we have lots of different topics we want to talk about today to help you guys build websites that connect with your clients and show your true value and show what you can do for them. So Ian, which subject do you want to start with? Well,
you know, maybe we can start with the one that we were talking about in terms of the making sure that the website is feeling very actionable and creating that clear lead into a conversation, which, you know, and I know, Nancy, you've got actually a chat bot on your website, right? And this is something that we're seeing a lot.
Yes.
On websites. This whole idea of when someone comes to your website, how easy is it for them to start talking to you? You know, how can we take down those barriers of entry? Right?
Absolutely. So I think I mentioned this on a prior weekend wind down, but it's very applicable here. I went to Funnel Hackers Live, which is a huge marketing event, 4,500 people. And one of the speakers said something about when you walk into, he used a different analogy. He used a barbecue store, but I convert that to clothing because I'm a woman, right? So, and Caden's like, I built Nancy's chatbot, my son, who's my business manager and strategist. I'm going to tell a story. Like if you were walking into a clothing boutique and as you go to approach the door, there's 4 people standing outside and say, wait, before you go in, let me tell you about the history of the owner of the store. And the other person's like, wait, before you go in, let me show you what other clients purchased. And then wait, before you go in, let me give you this free thing, right? And like he said, that's what we do every day with our websites. We're like, stop and look at this and look at that and read about me, instead of just going, open the door and speak to someone who inside the door says, what can I do to help you? What do you need? And you say, well, I'm going to a conference and I need, you know, a pair of black pants. And after the black pants, they say, do you need a top to go along with it? Do you need shoes? And I like this light bulb went off in my head. Like that, I feel like we're doing websites all wrong. And I still think my website is fabulous, but at the same time, what am I doing for them to be able to talk to me? And for me, that was the chat bot that Caden built for me. And I have a very active chat bot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm actually curious to hear, how long have you had your chat bot on, Nancy, and what's been your experience so far?
All right, Caden, tell me how long I've had it up there. Probably about a year, I'd say.
Okay.
And we get messages through my chat bot every single day. And you can see, we use ManyChat. I don't know, if you've ever looked into manychat.com. Looks simple, but when you actually look to build the chat tree, like they say hello, and you say what, and then it's like a whole flow chart basically of responses. But if they're typing to me, I end up getting an email. It actually happens through Facebook, the Facebook Messenger. And when I tell you every single day, and in the beginning, Kate and I used to be so excited. We'd be like, because he works for me, even though he's my son, we had 16 times a day we'd be messaging and talking. But we'd be someone's in the bot. Like, you know, we were so excited in the beginning. But we're finding it very responsive.
And so let me make sure I understand. So someone visits your site, someone clicks on, you know, or actually it pops up automatically in the chat in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, invites them to, you know, say something to you. They type in. Generally, what's the first thing that they ask you? It
says, how can I help you?
Right. So what's the first thing that they generally type?
Well, Caden set up a whole series of, you know, oh God, Ian, I actually have to look at it because I have a feeling Caden's off already. Let me go look at it, and I can actually share the screen. But they can say, I have a question for Nancy, or they're looking for something for free, that I have a lot of different free exercises. He built this whole, where is it? No, watch, it won't pop up when I'm looking for it. There it is. Okay, so let me share the screen and just show you how mine works. And we're looking to make improvements to it as well. Can you see well, here it comes. Hold on. Let me adjust.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, so it's right here. How can we help you? Right now, I can't do it because it's me, so it's not going to respond properly because I'm the owner. But it'll say like continue as, you know, Ian. Actually, we should have you share your screen, but I don't think you can do that with Be Live. So they'll click here and it says, how can they help you? Continue as you, and you can type a question. And then it'll start giving you options as to whether you want to speak to me, or you want to get a free, you want to get a consult with me, which is not free, or we offer you some free exercises, which if you answer, then it's asking you for your email and your name. And it's like a whole tree of options, but it answers for me. In the end, I will tell you the reason why we want to change it is because people type a question and I need to respond. But it's quick into my website. I mean, like, they see this, and again, I'm looking to improve my website, but they see this and it stays. See how it stays no matter how you scroll?
Right, it stays unless you click the little icon at the bottom, right? Then it'll collapse, right?
Correct, correct. Right, so they're going through my website and it's on every single page.
My question is, what are the inquiries that they generally are asking about, you know?
Usually they're asking me, so Caden's answering, the chatbot has resources for new clients, current clients, and to ask questions. So if it's a current client, it'll give them access into my membership site, right? So it'll say, current client, here's how you get back into your membership site. And if it's a new client, it'll give them options to get something for free or get a consult with me. If it's ask a question, they can click ask a question, they type out their whole question, and they click enter, and it says Nancy will respond shortly, right? And I immediately get an email. So Caden I'm not reading the messages. Hold on, let's see. Hi, Caden, we had dinner together at Luann's. Caden says, I'm here because he was answering my questions and I wasn't looking. The chatbot has resources, we showed that. So what's nice about the chatbot is it does interact through Facebook Messenger, many chats. So that to me is just easy. I don't have to have another thing. So have you started to use chatbots on the websites?
You know, I have one client who has chatbot installed. He actually installed it quite recently, and so we'll see how it goes for him. You know, and he specifically asked to put it on. It's not generally something that I have advocated for just yet, and that's why I was really curious to hear your experience with it so far, Nancy. You know, I got to tell you, if you know, as I'm moving forward now in playing with it and working with it, really the thing that I'm kind of trying to wrap my mind around is, how does this fit into a luxury brand, right? Because interior design is a luxury service generally, right? And we're with our websites, with our interior design websites, we are looking to create a certain feeling, and so that's just, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to wrap my mind around, because chatbots have connotations with being highly digital, highly available, you know, and, you know, giving the impression that someone is highly available. Is that a good impression to get, you know?
You know what? I'm never into smoke and mirrors. Never. I don't care how luxury you are. My chatbot responds. Nancy will get back to you as soon as she can. But isn't it, and I'm going to actually put this up because it's exactly what I was going to say. Immediate response is luxury. That's what the high-end client wants. They say, I need it now. And you're supposed to go, absolutely, right? Because you're charging those luxury prices. But more so than that, I'm going to take it back a notch and say, doesn't everyone want to talk about their project as soon as they wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I hate this bathroom, I have to do something about this? And they go searching and they look for someone. And if they can get a response right away, who do you think is going to get that job? Right? And it doesn't have to be you. It could be a staff member. If you're a luxury and you have a boutique and you have employees, it can be anyone who gets that email that says somebody's in the chat bot. For me, it's always me that responds. Although maybe once in a while when I've been away, Kaden has responded. But the bottom line is this feeling of I need to look exclusive and I don't respond. I just don't buy it. And you know what? And what percentage of the interior design industry is actually successfully working in the luxury markets right now? I'm not saying that's not their goal, but how many as a percent? I don't know the answer. I don't know if you do, but what percentage is actually working in the luxury market? Yeah,
it's not a large percent for sure.
So let's not pretend we're not who we are, right? And just say, you know what? If you ask me a question and I'm available, I know the couple of times Kaden's answered for me. It's like, hey, it's Kaden, not Nancy. Nancy, blah, blah, blah. So always be authentic, but easy access into you. And maybe there's more nicely looking chatbots. Maybe there's other websites that I don't know about. Maybe that's
the thing. I was just thinking, just as you're saying, I wonder if there are some that look less techy, you know?
That'd be nice. That would be nice. I would like that myself. And I think for interior designers, that would be something they would be interested in. Something that's not blue like Facebook, right? It's like this.
Right. Yeah, right. Even something that could be styled to fit within the branding scheme of their website would be really nice. That's something that I'm going to look into. I can tell you what I have been doing now, you know, in line with this whole idea of, you know, being right there when someone arrives on your website, being right there and saying, hi, you know, what's your question? I'd be happy to help you. What I generally do on websites that I create these days is I put a short paragraph from the designer on the homepage, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, spoken in the first person, usually, just saying, you know, I know you're really busy with, you know, this and that. You're looking for someone to help you with this and that. I can help you, you know.
Love this idea.
You know, I'd be happy to speak to you. You know, click here to reach out. You know, I'd be happy to speak with you, sort of thing. You know, and those just those words right there. I'd be happy to speak with you.
Means you're open and you want to speak.
Spoken in the first person. You know, it can be really powerful words. I'd be happy to speak with you, whether it's on your homepage, whether it's on your about page, whether it's on your contact page. Those simple words, I'd be happy to speak with you, can go a long way.
I think that's brilliant, actually, because I do think that even though we're all in different markets, different price points, you know, the bottom line is we all want to speak to somebody, right? And to hear right in the front, I'd be happy to speak to you, is is huge. And I like that first person. You know, I remember years ago, the websites were always like, well, you're supposed to make yourself exclusive and look like you're a company, even if you're a solo. And that's something that still bothers me, but that's just me. From a marketing standpoint, if I know someone who did this. They're just one person in their company. I'm not going to name them because they might watch this. And they tried to pretend they were this big company at some point. Wasn't a designer. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, if you're solo, own it. There are people who like that. And those are the people you're meant to work with. And as you grow, there are other people as you grow who like the fact that you're growing and expanding, and they have more people to respond to them.
This is one of the most common things that comes up when I work with interior designers when we're planning out a website, is how to define the voice of the website, because every website has a voice, right? When we read the words of a website, there is someone talking, and the question is, who's talking?
Yes.
Right. And so if we write a website completely in the first person, well, that's simple. It's the designer. You're hearing words straight from her mouth, right? And for designers who are solos, I generally encourage them, like you said, Nancy, to own it, because people like working one-on-one. You know, it's a really nice experience. Now, there's another way to kind of bend it, which is if someone is working solo, but they really, really want to use the language of the collective, the we, the our, well, then what they can do on their about page is they can have a short paragraph that defines who is we, right? And if the designer is working as a solo, they can say, we, you know, led by principal designer, blah, 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 supported by a team of experts and specialists, contractors.
Love it.
You know, I mean, just that paragraph right there gives permission to use that language.
I love that. And it's so true. Even if you're a solo in your business, you have a team of window treatment specialists and painters and contractors and flooring and carpeting experts. So that to me makes perfect sense.
And it's a very important paragraph, you know, because otherwise, because someone who's really interested in you, they're going to read your about page. And if they don't see that paragraph and then they eventually speak with you and they realize you're a solo, there's going to be that moment that they realize they thought you were a firm, but you're actually a solo. And there's a breach of trust right there.
Oh,
there's a moment that happens when they realize, right? And they may not say anything, but they're going to notice, you know?
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. And I think I never could put it into words, what you just put into words. Mm-hmm. I just knew it, like, always bothered me. Why are you saying we when you're just an I? Just talk from the heart, be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. But I never realized, and I think you put it perfectly into words, that when they find out you're a solo, now they're like, huh? Like, mm-hmm. There's a disconnect, even if it's subconscious.
Even if it's subconscious, because they think, well, she was disingenuous about that, so now I'm on guard.
Right. You know? Trying to make yourself look bigger than you actually are. You know what? We all go through stages of our business. And I think I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I'm trying to think who it was. Oh my God, I hope it wasn't Caden. He's listening. But it was like, am I in the baby stages of my business, or am I at the toddler stage, or, right? You go through stages of your business, and there's no shame in whatever stage you're at. And to try to look bigger than you are is a strategy, but it is a strategy that can often bite you in the ass if you really can't pull it off.
Authenticity sells, you know.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, write that down. Authenticity sells, right? I sit there and I go live in my group, and you go live, like what we're really going through, what's really happening. You're rebranding because it wasn't authentic to you. Mm-hmm. I redid my website. I think I'm on the third rung of it, right? Because I keep looking at it going, it doesn't make sense. So let me ask everyone who's watching, ask a question about your website. Should I, whatever, and let's get Ian and I to answer what our opinions are of that also while we continue to talk. We're here to answer your questions. Do you have a question about what you should be doing with your website, what it should include, how it should look, and let's see if we can answer it. But I want to, as people are thinking about that, I want to go on to the topic which I have an opinion about, but we actually just touched on it before we came live, is the whole calendar link.
Right.
So what are you doing with websites when it comes to a calendar link? What is the intention and how is it working?
Good. So this is actually one of the most common questions that my clients ask me when we start planning their website. They say, Ian, I want to have a link on my website which allows people to schedule a call with me, you know, or schedule a consultation.
That's different.
They are two different things, but the software can work the same way for both. In both cases, it's someone scheduling something with you through your website, right? And what they're really telling me, and as I've dug through this with my clients, I realized what they really want is for their website to feel actionable. They want their website to convert better into these phone calls, into these consultations. And they see on websites around, including my own, buttons that you can press in which you can hop on someone's calendar or schedule a consultation, etc. And so now I'm going to share with you guys exactly what I tell my clients, okay? And this is what I say. I say, it is possible, depending on your lifestyle and the way you work, because if you have a button on your website in that allows someone to schedule time on your calendar, well, then you need your calendar to be set up to receive those. You know, do you have a certain time of the week that you have blocked off to take inquiry calls? Do you have time blocked off where you're going to go on trips to make consultations, in-home consultations? You know, people say, I want to make money while I sleep. I want people to sign up while I sleep. Well, if you do that, are you going to be able to answer for those? You know, and most interior designers, the way that they work, the way that they live, they're going to showrooms, they're driving around. And so how are you going to set that up on your calendar? You know, and so for most of my clients, it hasn't been the right answer. It hasn't been the right solution, you know, to actually have a Calendly link. Now, Nancy, you work at home generally when you work with your clients. I do the same. We have time at our desk that we know that we can take calls, and so it works for us. But for anyone who's going out the door, you know, and needs to kind of be flexible, you got to really think about this, you know. And so,
all right, but okay. So my clients, I teach them to make sure they have at least one day that they are in the office. Mm-hmm. They protect it with a vengeance, right? They tell any client who says, but I only have Fridays. Sorry, Friday, I'm already booked. You don't have to say why. So let's just pretend that Fridays is, yeah, okay. So Joe Hecker says, Ian rocks. What about me, Joe? Okay. And he spelled your name wrong. Love you, Joe. Okay, so we have questions too. We're going to go back to them. But to me, as a business coach, I want people to have easy entry into speaking to you. So I do love the idea of a calendar, but to the phone call, to a 15-minute phone conversation about your design project. I do not love a calendar link to a in-home paid consult, because I only approve of paid consults in-home, because then it has to go to a link to have them pay in advance in order to secure that spot, unless you are really well sought out you're really well sought out as a designer and your pipeline is full and people are just dying to get you, then a calendar link to a paid consult might work for your company. But again, I'm going to go back to what percentage of designers are in that category right now who can have that happening for them. It's almost like a filter. I look at it like a filter. If your pipeline is full, then put a filter on, put your prices on, because you're looking to slow down the pipelines and raise your prices. And this way you have less clients and more profit. But if your pipeline's not full, make it easy entry onto your calendar for a phone call, easy entry into a chat bot. But a calendar link into a in-home paid consult, I think might bounce them off your website. That's what I'm thinking. Does that it makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I love that analogy of the filter. And so, you know, perhaps a designer does make a commitment to 2 or 3 days a week for a certain section of the day.
Right.
You know,
like a couple of hours in the morning, and those, it's also great for them because that's the days they're in the office. And if they don't have any consults, a little catch-up time. Right,
exactly.
Right.
And I want to share one more thing here on a related topic regarding these calendar links, and it relates to the initial questionnaire. You know, the initial questionnaire that we find on the contact form, the initial questionnaire that we want people to fill out before we talk to them, right? The initial questionnaire that will give us information about them that can prepare us for the call and to, in a way, allow us to gauge certain things about their project, that questionnaire, right? And obviously, when we put it on the contact page, usually it's there, but then there's the email next to it. And it's like, yeah, do one of these 2 things. And generally, someone's just going to email you. They generally don't, you know, do the questionnaire, right? Because, you know, people aren't going to do something until they're forced to do it. Right?
I hate questionnaires.
Right. And so one thing I'm experimenting with these days is for those who do have a calendar link, okay, which I do. I use Calendly, and there's a button on my website, and it says schedule a hello call, okay, and it's around my site in several places. When they click it, it shows them my calendar, and they can choose a time. All right, so far so good. They're like, yeah, okay, here we go. They click it, they choose a time, boom, there's the questionnaire.
Oh,
you hate that. Well, you know, I can understand why you would say that, Nancy. But and I just want to tell you, it's only 9 questions, and you know,
that's a lot of questions.
Well, listen, if they're really got a good taste in their mouth from what they've seen on my website, and they've chosen a day they want to talk to me, you know, the other way to do it would be to not put it right there, allow them to get on my calendar, and then reach out to them by email and say, I'm so looking forward to speaking with you. You know, before we speak, please go ahead and fill out this questionnaire. It's going to allow us to go deeper into your project faster. You know, it's going to allow us to go deeper, faster. You know,
I would say still I want it to be who's messaging you.
I don't know.
We got to go back to all these questions. It's awesome. Everyone's commenting, but I just think the most I want to deal with is 3 questions before you've lost me.
Right.
And you know what? Again, you're good at it. I don't know if you give yourself enough credit. You're good at getting, like, in the first 4 minutes of a phone call, you could ask those 4 questions and have everything you need to move forward. Does it really help you that much more to have them answer those questions in advance? That's my question to you and to anyone else who's listening.
That's a really good question that you just posed, actually. It's a really valid question.
Right? Because people email me like, Nancy, should I send you an email before our first consult so you can get a feeling for my background and what I've done and my experience? And literally I'm like, no, like, because it takes me 3 or 4 minutes, which is not significant in a 50-minute phone call. And I would rather hear it and see it because I do everything Zoom. And I think you do too, right? Ian, do you do the first phone call?
My initial calls, I do just do by phone.
Okay, so I do via Zoom, and I can read their body language, the way they're saying it, and get their history and ask the appropriate questions. Because in the end, if you think about it, don't you ask the same questions basically when they get on the phone? You're not like, well, I see on your questionnaire you said this. No, you kind of start from scratch again.
Well, there is one important question that I ask in my questionnaire, which is, have you had a chance to view how I work and how I charge for my work? I ask that question in my questionnaire. And now not everyone puts how they charge for their work on their website. I happen to do that, you know. And by the way, talking about how you charge for your work on your website doesn't mean you have to put what you charge for your work. It means how you charge for your work. There's a difference between how and what.
Okay.
Right?
I'm laughing only because Joe Hacker said point goes to Nancy.
Nancy's been kicking my butt all day.
All right. All right. I'm going to go back because I want to make sure we answer questions, because I told everyone to ask questions, because you and I could go all day with this stuff. We've done it, you know, often enough. So let me start with Lori Sainsmith. Should I use testimonials? And I have a big opinion. You know, I'm opinionated about everything. Go ahead. You go first.
Yeah. I mean, you know, quality testimonials can be really helpful. And I think the question is not, should I use testimonials? I think the question is, how should I use testimonials?
Yes.
You know, and here are some ways that I like to use them. I like to put at least one on the home page with a link to say view more testimonials. You know, one thing I do on the actual testimonials page, I like to either bold certain parts of each testimonial so that if they scan the page, that they're able to just get the points from each, because they're not going to read every single paragraph, or pull out a line or a phrase from each and put it as a header above each testimonial. I think that the bottom line is the testimonials need to be really easy to skim and scan.
I agree completely with everything you said. And it was one of the interesting things when I went through the branding process. I used a company called Braid. I never knew they branded Brené Brown. I don't know if any of you know Brené Brown. She's an amazing motivational scientist who talks about shame, but she's really very well known. I'm like, oh, I use the same company as Brené Brown. But one of the things they taught me was that you don't have to give the full paragraph that somebody wrote. You can just, like you said, take out a piece of it. Or if you're going to use more of it, bold the one sentence that you really want the scanners to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sorry to cut you off, but I really like doing it that way, because showing the whole paragraph shows how much your past clients have cared enough about you to write. That is an important signal. If I go to someone's testimonial page and I just see one sentence for each, I don't get the feeling that their past clients really valued them that much, you know. So I like to see that full paragraph, but you know, just some bolded or some headers, you know. And
that's interesting. And normally I'd say no one's going to read all of that. Just put these 3 sentences and bold one of them. So, you know, again, 2 different takes on basically the same thing. And I actually think you made a really good point. You want to see that someone took the time to write so much about you. Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I encourage people to do is to embed, well, first of all, to get Facebook reviews on your Facebook page, you know, because Facebook reviews are really easy to embed on your website. And when someone sees a Facebook review embedded on your website with that little, you know, icon there showing that person's face and everything, that really sends an important signal that it's a really, truly authentic testimonial.
Oh, I never do that. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. I never do that. That's a great idea. And how do you embed that? Well, okay, you're a web designer.
The way you do it is you go to your Facebook business page, you go to that testimonial, and there should be like a 3 dots or something you can click, and you can find the embed code. And then if you do your website yourself, then you've got to figure out how to embed that. If you work with a designer, ask them how to embed that. If you want to see an example of how this is done, go to my website, theartofyou.co.
Okay, I have it up. Hold on, let me share it.
Yeah.
Let me share to the broadcast. Okay, are we seeing it?
Yep, so that's my website there.
Okay.
And go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of the screen. To testimonials. Okay. All right, go ahead and click on testimonials there. So first of all, what we can see here is we can see that I've pulled out certain phrases and I've put them at the top of each. And as you scroll down, Nancy.
Oh, I see how you did it. Nice. Okay.
So you can just read the first line or the feature line from each. And if you go ahead and keep scrolling down, Nancy, past these photos here.
I want to go slow enough so people can see all the people. And I have to tell you, that when I'm coaching clients and they ask me about their website, I don't think I ever told you this. I always go to your website and show them what you've done.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome, to give them ideas. And sometimes, you know, they're doing it themselves or whatever, but I'm like, you have to go. And I'm not going to say the old name. Now I'll say the new name, theartofyou.co, for them to really see. And I say, like, jump around and look to see what you like and what you want to fashion yourself again. And again, hopefully they go with you in the end because it shows your creativity. So, wow, look at all that you've done. Okay. Oh, here we are.
So there you have reviews on Facebook, you know, and you can see they're embedded there. And, you know, when someone sees that, you know, they're like, well, there's no way they could have faked this, you know, unless they got the client to get in on it too, you know. So it's got a little oomph to it.
Oh, my God. It totally has oomph to it.
Yeah.
And then you can actually click here and it'll go to your Facebook page.
You'll go to my Facebook page and you can see more reviews, you know. So
love that, Ian.
So obviously, you know, when you get reviews from clients, you can ask for reviews on Houzz, you can ask for reviews on Google. Asking for reviews on Facebook is generally quite easy because everyone generally has a Facebook page, you know, and then it's really easy to embed, you know, so.
I love that. And you know what, someone gave me, when they asked me today, they wanted to write something about me. I said, oh, just go into my group and do it. And they did it. But I'm thinking I probably should have said, go on my Facebook page and do it, right? Okay. All right. Let me go back and ask, and because I know there was, well, how far back did I go? Hold on, guys. Thank you for loving this discussion. Just share it if you feel like you have other interior designers who would benefit from this conversation. Let me just go back because I know I only answered one question so far. Okay. Oh, we have, okay. All right. This is a debate that Ian and I always have. This is an ongoing debate with Ian and I. Should I put pricing on my website? So I'll go first. No. Because unless again, you want another filter before they get to you and your pipeline is full, you're not giving them the ability to speak to you and for you to sell them on the vision of what it would be like to have you in for a consult. So that's my take.
All right. So I'll be the devil's advocate here, right? So, and by the way, I should start by saying I'm actually open to both ways, but if you do put pricing on your website, here's what I think can work well, all right? Consider describing how you charge for your work. In other words, what goes into their investment, right? Just tell them the investment includes, you know, the budget for furnishing, budget for specialists such as contractors, and a design fee. To kind of just break it down for them. Just that alone can signal to them that you have a method to how you charge for your work. One of their greatest fears is that they're going to be charged willy-nilly without any sort of organized system. They want to know that you're organized with how you charge for your work. So if you can actually just describe it with a brief paragraph, here's how I charge my work. That's one step you can do. Another thing you can do is you can talk about realistic budgets. Now, one of my clients on her services page, you know, she said, okay, full service interior design, where I do this, and this for you. You're not going to have to lift a finger, blah, blah, blah. A realistic budget for furnishings and procurement is $10,000 per room. Okay, so listen, people know that they know they're going to spend some money. Their question is how much money. But
was that for design services, Ian, or was that for furnishings also?
For her, for that particular designer, that's actually just for furnishings and procurement.
So it's for the furniture and her services.
No. Just furnishings. Yeah.
Just furnishings.
Yeah, just furnishings budget, because the types of projects that she's doing, that she's willing to attract. And by the way, she is a designer whose pipeline is relatively full right now. Let's just make that point right off the bat.
Because that's very low.
Well, it is what it is for her, you know.
And that's okay. Like, no, I'm in agreement with you. Like, that's okay. if she really is connected to who her ideal client is,
Mm-hmm.
and they're spending $10,000 for, let's say, a living room or a family room,
Mm-hmm.
I need to go shopping and do better.
But whatever the number is, right? You know, this notion of saying realistic budget starting at, you know, if you know why are they coming to your website? They're coming to your website to get some information on what it would be like to work with you. And one of their biggest questions is, how much is it going to cost?
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
You're just looking for something. Just give me something.
I know, but if you give them something and you're way off, you're like screwed.
Well,
like,
that's why,
seriously.
right. And that's why you got to be careful with your language. Starting at can be a really good qualifier, you know,
right,
for you, you know. But, you know, you make a good point, Nancy, in terms of we want to, you know, lower the barriers of entry for that initial conversation, right? But if we think about it in the way that one particular barrier of entry is that they don't have enough information to feel confident to reach out. If we think of that as a barrier of entry, you know, then something like this can help. So, like I said, you know, two takeaways here. You know, you can talk about how you charge for your work, not what you charge, but how you charge, and describe that. And number two, you can talk about starting budgets, you know, per room, and just help people to set expectations, you know, and you know. So.
Okay, no, I agree with you. I guess where my mind's going, if you have a client who's spending $10,000 for a room, how much are you actually making? So I think of it from the business profitability standpoint for a designer, and I'm okay with designers at any level making money, right? So they just have to make sure that when they do get on the phone with the client, they're not committing to that bottom number. And I like the fact that you said starting at. And I think you're 100% right. You have to give them enough information that they feel like they have something to call you about and they feel comfortable with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's such a hard thing. The pricing thing is such a hard thing. Everyone like, well, how much do you think it's going to cost me to do my living room, family room? Okay, well, what does it include? Does it include carpet, window treatments, paint? Are we doing any built-ins? I mean, it's just so varied that it's so hard, I think, just on your website to say a standard, you know?
Yeah, because interior design is not standard. It is custom. And that's the rub.
That is the rub. Oh my God, it's so crazy. All right, wait, now I know there was a big question back here somewhere from Sam. Okay, so Sam said she shifted her business within the last several months to being more to brand consultancy. I don't know if I said that right. Rather than doing design work, I've adjusted my services page to reflect that, but would you recommend removing past design work as well as not to confuse people? I'm going to just give from my personal perspective, because when I was still expressive living, art framing and accessories, people started getting really confused that I was doing coaching and art consulting. And there was a point where people stopped calling me for expressive living art consulting because they were like, well, I wasn't sure what you do. And that was my signal, among many other signals, to give up expressive living and start just hanging my shingle as a coach and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you have any experience with this kind of walking the line between transitioning to a new business.
You know, it's about clarity. It's about, like you said, it's about being able to understand what this person is all about, right? And what they can offer. And so if someone is transitioning from kind of one thing to the other, if they need to lean on that past work for credibility, then perhaps they need to make sure they explain that so that it's clear, like maybe on their about page, you know, I come from a background of design, I'm transitioning to branding, and first of all, be really honest about where they are in the process. And if they say, I'm just getting into it, perhaps they want to say, I'm offering an opportunity right now for the next 5 clients, to go on this journey with me, that we're going at a special rate. You've seen my past work that gives you some confidence of kind of my aptitude.
Yes.
Right. And now so that past work can be important in that ability, but in order for it to make sense, it's got to be explained in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, and I never did that well, to be honest. I never did. So wait, I took away Shayna. Shayna's like, Ian's awesome. I love his work. Thanks, Shayna. Okay, so Joe, Kelly Ellis only responds back during certain hours and dates when we were talking about like blocking your calendar, right? So for those who don't know Kelly Ellis, look her up. She's a rock star interior designer and speaker. And Joe goes on to say, just like design, it's not about what you think, it's about what works. It's so true, and this is where I think the biggest thing I learned in the marketing conference was that no matter how much we can tell you guys who are listening, it is trial and error, tweaks and turns, lefts and rights, until you find what works for you. We can tell you best practices, what has worked with previous clients, right, Ian? It's like we're always tweaking. I mean, we're always tweaking, and we're the ones teaching people.
Mm-hmm. It's really true. You got to be really invested in your website and your brand. I know you didn't sign up for this. As an interior designer, you didn't sign up to be a website expert or marketing expert or whatever, but you got to be in it to a certain extent. What do you have? Do you have time or you have money? Which one? Which one are you going to spend? And I think it's can be really beneficial when you take the time to really dive into it. So
definitely. Oh, we're starting to get a little echo. Let's see what Kristen said here. What's the #1 newest thing lately that should? Oh, this goes perfectly into what we wanted to talk about, what you wanted to talk about. I don't know anything about it. So I can answer my projects. I have a form for, okay, wait, let me make sure I read this properly. Latest thing lately that should go on the website. I haven't done mine for like 7 years. Wow. And I can add projects. So go ahead, Ian. Let's talk about what we mentioned before we went live.
If I was to recommend one thing to put on your website, I would recommend that you put on a video. Now, wait, before you jump out of your chair and turn this live off right now, I want to tell you that consider doing a video. If getting on camera has been the hang up on you putting a video on your website, consider creating a video in which you're not on camera. Now, first of all, let me backtrack for a second. And let me answer the question, why is video important? Video is important because it's important for people to feel a connection with you on your website. Your website should do 3 things in general that I like to say. It should attract people, it should connect with people, and it should educate people. And this is what I call my acronym ACE, ACE. Attract, connect, and educate. Now, for the connection, that video is so important that when they hear your voice, there's such a connection to your voice. Now, I saw Nancy shaking her head because, obviously getting on camera is really important to really bring it all home, and to make that connection. But the fact of the matter is that getting on camera has been the hang up for a lot of people in terms of getting a video on your website. And so here's something you can consider. If you're not ready to get on camera, or you're not ready to make the investment to make that look really good to get on camera with the lighting and everything like that, what you can do, check out the homepage of my website, because there's one on there right now.
I'm going to go bring it up again. Hold on. Okay,
maybe we can watch it.
I would love to watch it. Okay, let's go up to the broadcast. I'm still on the Facebook page, so I'm going to scroll up quickly. Don't get dizzy, people. Okay. Tell me where to go, Ian.
Click on the logo to go back home.
Home.
Yeah, and then
right here.
That's it, right there. 30 seconds.
All right, let's go.
We both create spaces. Yours physical, mine virtual. Through design, we create mood, thoughts, and even desired outcomes. Your desired outcome is for your ideal clients to reach out to you. My work is about helping you attract them, connect with them, and educate them. This way, they'll be more likely to reach out. You're gifted at what you do, and you're looking for someone to help you communicate the value of what you do. This is what I do. This is the art of you.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Wait, did I start it again? It's a little choppy, guys. Sorry, because when I have all these programs working on my computer, it happens. But that was unbelievable.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh my God, it's the first time I've seen it. That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is phenomenal. So you're saying, wait, I got to lower my volume. Hold on, because I raised my volume because I didn't know whether you guys could hear it enough. So hold on, let me adjust the volume, stop sharing. That was so good. So you're telling me that people who are, this is the latest and greatest. So to answer the question, this is the latest and greatest that you, in your research as a web designer to interior designers, that this is a great way for people who are not comfortable on video themselves can add video to their website.
Yeah, and it actually goes beyond just being not comfortable, because when you create a video like this, in which what we're looking at slides of your work, right? That's what we're looking at images of your work, and we're listening to your voice, right? And what we get here is actually a very timeless video. It's not dated in any way, and so even if these are little videos that you create for social media, what are we talking about here? We're talking about taking your phone. We're talking about using your voice memos app to record a little bit, talk about your philosophy or whatever. Now, my video is obviously very produced. That's the perfect word for it. It's produced, right? And so you can ask yourself, do I want it to feel more produced or want it to feel more candid, right? But the bottom line is you get on and you just talk for a little bit. You can put music behind it or not, right? And you just share some slides of your work. Now, when I put slides of my work, I use what's called a Ken Burns effect, which actually zooms in on each photo subtly on each one. So it creates this cinematic effect, and it really just helps that viewer kind of carry through the video, because when it's static, it's just kind of rigid. So I recommend using that Ken Burns effect. Now, Ken
Burns effect? That's on my phone?
No, well, Ken Burns effect, you'll find it in video editing applications.
Now you're over my head.
Well, so here's the next step, right? Is, well, how do we get this done? How do we get this video made, right? And what it requires is video editing software. If you have a Mac, then you have iMovie, and that's what I use to create this video. Okay, and again, we come to the whole thing. What do you have, time or money? Are you going to spend the time to learn how to do it, or do you have the money to hire me or someone else to do it for you? But,
okay, so yeah, I'm all about getting the people who can do it well and pay them to do it. And then it goes back to my coaching, which is make enough money so you can hire people, have a high enough profit in your business so you can hire people to do what they do best and not try to learn. Well, you can learn it, but it just takes too much time, and you're going out of your genius zone.
Sure. Well, what I can say is that doing a video like this is a much lower barrier of entry, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're hiring someone to do it. If you hire someone to create a video like this for you, all we're talking about is video editing. We're not talking about filming, and that brings the cost way down.
That's true.
For video production, So what we're talking about now is hiring someone for 1 to 2 hours to take, maybe 5 to 10 photos that you send them and your voice clip, and either source background music or have them find background music if you want background music, and put it together.
All right. So we have so many comments here, but do you believe it's 5:29?
No.
I know, and I try to respect people's time, and I think John Tedesco's goes on after me, so I try to respect that he goes on after me. for people who want to continue on having a drink and watching Facebook Lives. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have so many other questions that I don't think we're going to get to. So if you have time, Ian, later tonight or tomorrow, go back and answer some of these questions if you can, and I'll do the same. But do you do these videos for people?
I do, yeah.
And what if they have a WordPress site?
If they have a WordPress site, I can still do the video for them.
Okay.
If they have a WordPress site and they're looking for my help with their website, then I can either do a strategy session with them in which they can walk away with a list of actionable steps to either do themselves or hand to their website designer, or we can talk about actually, redesigning their website, in which we would do it on Squarespace, which is the platform that I work on.
Love it. Okay, so tell everyone again, the artofyou.co is, but tell everyone if there's any other place that they can find you, communicate with you, get something, to.
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, the best place to learn about me, my work, is on my website, theartofyou.co. Instagram, same thing, theartofyou.co. And then Facebook, right now, it's actually still on House Digital, my previous name, because Facebook is really stingy about letting people change their business names on their pages. But eventually it will be theartofyou.co, fingers crossed.
Fabulous. So just so all of you know, I've worked with Ian for like a year and a half, 2 years at this point. I don't even know. Time is flying.
And by the way, I want to give you a shout to Nancy, and I want people to know that I actually met Nancy because I hired Nancy as my business coach, starting my business, and it was really instrumental for getting me to where I am now. So I just wanted to give you a shout on that. Thank
you. I appreciate that. And I think you're a rock star. I really do. And I think that anyone who is struggling with their website, you know what? I'm not the do-it-yourself kind of girl. I'm not. I want you to hire people who know what they're doing, and Ian knows what he's doing. So if you are struggling with your website, reach out. Whether you currently have a WordPress site and he can give you that instructional, what to give to your website designer to make your website great, or whether he can do it on Squarespace for you, it's worth it. Because when you don't have a website that connects, it is something that is really losing you business. And what I love about Ian particularly is that him and I can argue and we can banter and we can hash it out every time. And in the end, we both know we're learning that marketing is changing every single day, and you just don't want to become stagnant, right?
You don't want to become stagnant. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. Please share the broadcast. I am Nancy Ganscofer, business coach and body language coach to interior designers. And if you need me to hop on my website, nancyganscofer.com, for a first-time introductory call, there's a button on my website. If you're struggling with growing your business, being profitable, sales, marketing, that's what I do. And I would love to work with you. So I'll see you all. I think I'm on next week. I'm home for 3 weeks before I go to the IDS National Conference. So I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me, Nancy.
Thank you. Bye, guys.